YouTube, let me talk to you. One thing most people know about me is how huge of a fighting game fan I am. And out of all of them I played, my favorite one would definitely have to be Mortal Kombat. That's the fighting game that I've played ever since I was a kid. I remember mashing buttons as a wee lad on Mortal Kombat 9 and how much fun I had with the game. Now let's not ask ourselves what kind of mental problems come with an 8-year-old being thoroughly entertained by gruesome, gory, and visceral deaths. And instead ask ourselves, how fun are the fatalities in these games? Well, not all of them. Nobody bats 100%, and that includes Mortal Kombat fatalities. These fatalities will have you scratching your head asking, was that it? Or just be awful enough to bring massive disappointment. I'll try and limit the amount of fatalities per character in game in order to keep the list varied, because otherwise it would just be full of Mortal Kombat deadly allowance. What the fuck? I'll try and limit the amount of fatalities per character and game in order to keep the list varied, because otherwise it would just be full of Mortal Kombat, Deadly Alliance, or MK vs DC. This is big nasty, and these are the top 10 worst Mortal Kombat fatalities. If you enjoy this list, please let me know by subscribing, and then liking again, and then going to my videos, liking the other videos. And if you haven't subscribed by then, subscribe. Also leave a comment.
Number 10.
With every subsequent Mortal Kombat game, it feels like all the fatalities just keep on getting better and better. MK11 has some of the best fatalities in the whole series. The good ones are really good, the lower tier ones are still above average when compared with the other games, and there really is no bad ones to speak of. Well, almost none. Raiden's Snip Snap Trip is pretty bad, but the worst amongst them has to be Kano's Headbutt. Out of everything else in this game, including Kano's other fatality, it's just so boring. This fatality is so mundane that it just leaves you asking, was that it? The only good thing about it is that it does have impact. But look, Kano's hitting them with the middle of his head. He's not even using his cybernetic eye part. And it has a brutality just like it, making it completely pointless.
Number 9.
Another beauty of MK11's fatalities is that they all end on a cool slow motion pose of the fatality, rather than awkwardly ending the fatality on the body, or the body just falling over like ugh. The biggest offender of this has to be Kitana's fatality in MKX. The fatality isn't even that bad inherently, like there's definitely some worse ones, but I just can't forgive that horrible shot of just the victim's fingers in the top of their heads. Why would you end on that?
Number 8.
Sub-Zero has some of the best fatalities in the whole series. Hell, his spine rip is the most iconic in the whole series, and it was even what led to ESRB ratings being established. I am not lying. Of course, that means that it can't possibly be on this list. Well, not that one anyway. Imagine if in MK1, when Sub-Zero rips your head off, that the lights just went out midway through because Shao Kahn apparently forgot to pay the electrical bill for his renowned Tournament of Gods. I don't know if censorship had an effect on this fatality, but there is no forgiveness for Midway pulling a Sopranos and cutting to black mid-sentence.
Number 7.
Surprisingly enough, there are a lot of uppercut fatalities in the early Mortal Kombat games and even some of the newer ones. Johnny Cage's triple uppercut fatality was stupidly glorious, and a lot of people don't like Liu Kang's cartwheel fatality, but I thought it fit with his character of being a Shaolin monk who are all normally against killing, which is why it isn't on this list. But what is on this list is Rain's MK Trilogy fatality. This is a man who kicks you so hard you flip screens. Is basically a water and lightning demigod, and best of all is a clear reference to Prince, and the only thing we got for him is his goofiness. I want those 5 seconds of my life back. A lot of MK fatalities in their history have been goofy, or have been meant to not be taken seriously, but I draw the line here. Shame on you, Rain. Shame.
Number 6.
Deception's fatalities aren't the best, but even then, Scorpion is the most popular character of this series, the one that's always on the box art and in all the trailers. They've gotta have something better for him. One of his fatalities is just him ripping off Sub-Zero, his mortal enemy. You just gonna mooch off a Sub-Zero like that, Scorpion? You gonna do him like that? That isn't as bad as Scorpion's other fatality. Boom! One leg off. Boom! One arm off. Scorpion does a little goofy walk. It's like when you miss tossing the paper in the trash and have to do the walk of shame to go pick it up. Then he just snaps their neck. If you were just gonna snap their neck and show them that mercy anyway, why would you bother taking off their arm and leg in the first place? You're a legendary ninja turned demon wraith from hell and you're showing mercy, you wimp. You're a wimp.
Number 5.
Let me get this straight. You are a giant, humongous, four-legged centaur, kicking ass, taking names, and chewing bubblegum with no bubblegum in sight. And the best thing they've got for you is this. Lay off! Lay off! His big-ass four-wheel truck just completely handed me my ass. What is he gonna do? Oh no, I'm dead. He's gonna rip me in four. He's gonna rip my scrotum out and feed it to me. Oh no, he's coming, Bing bong! Guy just gives us a little squirt of blood before ripping our head off like Velcro. There's no way this is it. This is it? Just bing bong!
Number 4.
Mortal Kombat has never been reinforced in logic, but at least it made enough logical sense to not ruin the game. But if there was one thing I will never understand, it is fatalities where you sacrifice yourself in order to kill your opponent, like Raiden's suicide fatality or Cyrax's self-destruct. You've just defeated your opponent in a high-stakes life-or-death battle. You've got him dazed, confused, and open to whatever brutal method of murder you want to use. He's basically gift wrapped in your hands. And as a massive Predator fan, you decide killing the both of you is the better option instead of just killing him any other way and walking away with your own life. I guess that idea just made too much sense.
Number 3.
Not gonna lie, I've always hated Quan Chi, but I also cannot lie and say he doesn't have some badass fatalities. The man rips off your leg and beats you with your own severed leg non-stop. That is some cold black Air Force energy. But what happens if Quan Chi tries to do Sub-Zero's head rip but sucks at it? Technique, Quan Chi, you're forgetting the technique. Quan Chi's giraffe neck fatality is among the goofiest and dumbest I've ever seen in a video game, not even just Mortal Kombat. Quan Chi must have been taking tips from Sandy Cheeks or something, except this one doesn't even got a trumpet.
Number 2.
MK Armageddon was probably the most ambitious of projects we've ever seen in Mortal Kombat. Adding every single playable character up until that point was definitely cool to see, but adding 2 fatalities for over 62 characters was certainly no small task. So how did they get around it? They implemented some new systems called Creative Character, Creative Fatality, and let me tell you something, Creative Fatality is some of the slowest, lamest, most boring systems ever added into Mortal Kombat. No matter what combinations you made, the fatalities never look good, and it is such a shame. Now see, if you ask someone if they would like to make their own fatality in a Mortal Kombat game, they would get really excited and hyped, but Creative Fatality does not live up to that hype, nor the potential that we all knew it could reach. Well, here we go, back at the number 1, but before I move on, let's recap and remember our top 10 worst Mortal Kombat fatalities. Number 10, give us a kiss. Number 9, finger family. Number 8, who forgot to pay the bill? Number 7, upside down frown. Number 6, you're still a wimp. Number 5, bing bong. Number 4, oh shit, I pressed the wrong button. Number 3, whatever sound a giraffe makes. Number 2, create a fatality. And
Number 1.
now, there are some pretty middling fatalities in Mortal Kombat, but even some of the worst ones aren't offensively awful. But these are offensively awful. Is there anything I can say about Mortal Kombat vs. DC that hasn't been said already? Every fatality or heroic brutality is awful except for a safe few. Green Lantern's is wicked, Superman's isn't bad, but it could be better. And Joker's was good enough that they brought it back for Mortal Kombat 9. And I think that was it. I think that's it. No, seriously, every other fatality in this game is weak, awful, and lame to the highest degree. Half of them don't even look like they could kill a 5-year-old. Look at Kano's fatality. What is that? That is not a fatality. That is an abomination among men. This says it all. Mortal Kombat being rated T for teen. Mortal Kombat should never be rated T for teen. Shame on DC for not letting their precious characters be viciously manslaughtered in front of the children.
I don't care about the children!
MK vs. DC isn't even a bad game, but when you think about the best of Mortal Kombat facing off against the best of DC superheroes, this is nowhere near what comes to your mind, especially the fatalities. And for that, Mortal Kombat vs. DC, all of their fatalities in the entire game is the worst Mortal Kombat fatality of all time.